So, what if I told you that in just a few years, AI will be smarter than all of humanity combined? Well, that's just one of the bombshells from a recent Elon Musk interview, where he basically laid out his entire roadmap for our future. Today, we're going to break down that vision piece by piece and connect the dots from AI and robotics all the way to our ultimate destiny in the stars.
Terrific abundance. I mean, that's the goal, right? That's the destination. But how we actually get there, that's what's so fascinating. Musk believes this future is built on three main pillars: a kind of philosophical mission to save consciousness, a huge technological revolution with robotics, and a really radical solution to a looming energy crisis. All right, so what's the big why behind all of this? Before we dive into the jaw-dropping tech, we really need to understand the fundamental mission, because it all kicks off with this single, surprisingly deep goal. The mission that ties all of Musk's companies together, from Tesla to SpaceX, is actually this: to maximize the probability that civilization has a great future. So it's not just about building cool gadgets. It's a whole framework for making decisions that are aimed at making sure humanity survives and thrives for the long haul. And to really get the urgency here, Musk uses this really powerful metaphor. He sees human consciousness as a tiny candle in a vast darkness, something that's incredibly rare, super fragile. So to protect that flame from being snuffed out by some disaster here on Earth, he argues we have to become a multi-planetary species. And that right there is the core mission of SpaceX, to be our lifeboat. Okay, so how do we get from this huge philosophical idea of saving the candle to creating a near utopian future for us right here on Earth? Well, this is where the plan gets really tangible. This is where AI and humanoid robots come into the picture. The logic behind Musk's economic prediction is actually surprisingly simple. The way he sees it, it's just a numbers game. If you can make billions of humanoid robots, you suddenly have this workforce that can satisfy literally every want and need we have. And that could pretty much end material scarcity forever. And this isn't just some abstract idea. Musk gives really concrete examples of what these robots will do. Think about jobs where we have a shortage of people, like taking care of the elderly. A robot could help an elderly parent, give them companionship, make sure they're safe. From doing chores around the house to complex factory work, the goal is a robot that can do almost anything you could ask a person to do. But this explosion of productivity, it leads to a really deep philosophical question that Musk himself brings up. If we don't need to work anymore, then what gives our lives meaning? What is our purpose when work becomes totally optional? It's a fascinating and maybe a little bit unsettling thing to think about. But here's the thing. This future of AI and abundance, it is not a guarantee. There's one huge physical problem standing in the way of this entire vision. And the whole thing really hinges on solving this one central problem: energy. And here's the heart of the problem. Our ability to create AI chips is just exploding exponentially. But our ability to generate the electricity to power all of them, well, it's crawling along at a snail's pace, maybe 3 to 4% a year. It's like you're building a fleet of supercars, but you don't have enough gas stations. You just can't have one without the other. And as Musk points out, right now, there's really only one country, China, that's expanding its energy grid fast enough to keep up with AI's future demand. And they're doing it mostly through a massive build-out of solar power. The rest of the world, we're falling way behind, creating this huge bottleneck for progress. So forget about software, forget about algorithms for just a second. Musk argues that the single biggest thing holding back the AI revolution in the next few years won't be code. It'll be a simple physical lack of electricity. Okay, so if energy is the great bottleneck, what's the solution? This is where the vision gets truly ambitious. It combines technology here on Earth with a super bold plan for space that connects everything together. First, let's talk about Earth. To put the solution into perspective, Musk says you could power the entire United States with a solar field that's just 100 miles by 100 miles. I mean, that's just a tiny little corner of a state like Nevada. The problem isn't that we don't have the land, it's getting it built. But the ultimate source of energy, Musk argues, isn't on Earth at all. It's in space. And the reason is just simple physics. A solar panel in orbit is roughly 5 times more efficient than that same panel on the ground because it gets constant, unfiltered sunlight 24/7. Plus, the extreme cold of space is actually perfect for cooling the massive data centers that AI is going to need. So why aren't we already doing this? Well, because getting to space has always been ridiculously expensive.
For decades, we've basically just thrown rockets away after using them once. The goal of SpaceX's Starship is to create a fully reusable rocket, one that can be refueled and flown again and again, just like an airplane. And the impact of that one shift is just staggering. Full reusability doesn't just make space a little cheaper, it makes it about 100 times cheaper. That is a complete game changer that turns building massive solar farms and data centers in orbit from science fiction into a real engineering project. Okay, so we've got the philosophy, we've got the tech, and we've got the solution to the energy bottleneck. But honestly, the most startling part of this whole vision is just how soon Musk believes all of this is going to happen. This is not some distant, far-off future we're talking about. These are the predictions he laid out, and they are staggering. By the end of 2026, he says there'll be an AI smarter than any single human. By the end of 2027, humanoid robots will be available for sale to the public. And by 2031, an AI that surpasses the collective intelligence of all of humanity combined. This isn't science fiction anymore. This is the roadmap for the next decade. So what drives someone to chase such a huge vision? He says it all comes back to the science fiction he read when he was a kid. The goal isn't just to build a business. It's to take those inspiring futures he read about in books and make them real, to turn science fiction into science fact. And that leaves us with this final thought. If this timeline is even remotely accurate, the world is about to change in ways we can barely even comprehend. The most important questions might not be about the technology or the timelines, but about the things we haven't even thought to ask yet. And that, maybe, is the most profound takeaway of all.